Hi guys. I said I'd do a video for the answer there to question 15. Someone asked me to do it there in today's class. So let's have a look at it. We have a library does a survey of all its books out on loan on a particular day. For the purpose of the survey, it divides its books into the following categories: fiction, non-fiction, or children's books, hardback or paperback. So the survey showed that on a particular day, 1,250 books were taken out on loan. Look, I know they're going to be asking us to fill in this table to the right, so let's just start filling it in now, I suppose. And we can take that 100, we can put that 1,250 straight in there. That's the total number of books that were taken out on loan, and that can go straight in here. Okay, what's the next thing? 56% of all books on loan were paperback. Well, because we know maths and we're good at maths, we know we can get 56% of the total number of books. Okay, so that's 0.56. Of course, means multiply, as I always say. And that gives us, let's grab our calculator here. That gives us 700. So 700 of these books were paperback. That can go in here now. So paperback, 700. Okay, what next? Now we have a fraction. 3/5 of the paperback books were on loan, were fiction. Okay, so 3/5 of the paperback books, so 3/5 of the paperback books, so there's 700 paperback books, and they're telling us here that 3/5. Let's maybe go over to this side. So we need to know what 3/5 of 700 is, and that'll tell us, what will that tell us? What did they say here? We're fiction. So we're, the paperback, we're looking here in paperback and we're talking about the fiction. So that's what we're looking to calculate next now. 3/5 of, so of means multiply, so 3/5 of 700. Let's grab our calculator and work that one out. 3/5 multiplied by 700, 420. So 420 were paperback and fiction. Okay, perfect. So let's just tick, we've that one done, we've that one done, we've that one done. Now, what are they telling us here? This was 2/3 of the total number of fiction books out on loan for that day. So they're telling us that of the paper books that were out on loan, they're telling that 2/3 of the total number of fiction books, this was 2/3 of the total number of fiction books out on loan that day. Okay, we might come back to that bit. 1/5 of all hardback books were on loan were in the children's category. Okay. And the last bit, a total of, I'm just trying to see is anything we can put straight into the table there. A total of 200 non-fiction paperback books were out on loan. So a total of 200 non-fiction, a total of 200 non-fiction paperbacks. So that can go straight in here. Okay, a total of 200 non-fiction. Now we can figure out this box here because once you know everything bar one part, if we just take this bit here, we know everything in there apart from this, so we can figure that out now. Okay, so we basically need to know what we put here and that will add to give us 700, right? So we can add the 420. So we'll add the 420 and the 200. That gives us 620. And take that away from the 700 because there's 700 in total. Of course, that leaves us with 80. So we can put 80 now in there. $80 can go in here. Okay, and okay, let's have a look at what we could do next. Apologies here, I'm just trying to find the question again. I've lost my page number. Okay, let's see. We can find out this because we know that that box there, that sideways box, and this, we know that they both add up to give us this. Okay, so what do we add to 700 to get to 1250? Now let's maybe I just tidy up this a bit here. That was separate from, oh God, that was separate from this. Okay, and let's do the 1250 minus 700. So 1250 minus 700. That gives us 550. So 550. That goes there. Okay. So we're getting there slowly. Now, just looking back here now, what we haven't used, let's look at that 1/5 there. 1/5 of all hardback books on copy were in the children's category of all hardback. So how many hardbacks were there? 550. So we need to get 1/5 of that. So 1/5 of 550. So you just multiply there, or just 550 if you want, divided by 5, which gives us 110. So that tells us 110. Oh, apologies. Now my pen is just quite slow today. 110. Okay, so that is the 1/5 hardback books in the children's category. 110. Now this bit here, let's go back to here. We had 3/5 of paperback sold were fiction. So that was that bit there. We answered that bit, but they're then telling us that that represented, this was 2/3 the total number of fiction books out on loan for the day. So we're being told that 2/3 out for the fiction books there, 2/3 equaled 420. So if we can find out what the 1/3 is, so if we just divide, so to find out what 1/3 is, you divide both sides by 2. If 2/3 is 450, then divide this way we'll figure out what 1/3 is. That's so 210. Now that's what 1/3 is. So that's basically goes here. And when we add these two together, we should get the total for fiction. 630, okay? Because they're telling us that that's 1/3, sorry, 2/3. Then this must be 1/3, which we calculated down here. And when you add this number and this number together, we get 630, okay, which is the total. Now we just have a few more to fill in. There's no more information that they give us in the question. I'll just go back to make sure of that, but I don't think so. But I think we have enough in the table now to fill in the rest. So we've used that piece of information. So I think we've used all the information there. Let's look at this now. So we can fill out the non-fiction hardback. So we can fill out here. So let's go back to our rough work over here. Sorry, now this is a bit messy, okay, but this is rough work, okay? Maybe I'll just title that as rough work. If you ever do rough work in a test, you know, that's fine. It's to be encouraged indeed. So fiction is 210, children's book is 110. Add them together. 210 plus 110. So that gives us 320. We need to subtract that from 550. So that gives us 230. 230. That's what goes. 230 is what goes where it says non-fiction beside there. Okay, now we just add the non-fiction, so we can just add for the non-fiction across there, the 230 and the 200, it's 430. Okay, and then that must mean that this last one is here. When you add the 630 and the 430 together, add that, take it away from 1,250, you get 190 here. Okay, so there's quite a bit of work actually involved in that bit. Okay, let's look at B. A library, B. A library record for a book on loan is chosen at random. Calculate that the probability that the book is chosen is non-fiction. So remember, the bottom part of a lot of these fractions will be 1,250. So non-fiction, well, there was 430 in total out of all of that. I'm going to put that into my calculator, see if I can reduce it down further. Or do you know what I might do? Because I think at the back of your books when you're correcting, I think they have it in decimal. So I'll just do it in decimal. 430 divided by 1250. And that gives me 0.344. Okay, so that's my answer there. Okay, that's part one. Let's do part two over here. Hardback. Okay, so hardback. How many hardbacks were there? There was 550 hardbacks out of the altogether. So that's the top bit over that. So convert that into a decimal. 550 divided by 1250 equals to 0.44. Remember, I'm only putting it in decimal form because I know at the back of the book that's the way they have it, and you know, just to help you when you're correcting. Okay, what about next? A children's paperback. So children's paperback. They're talking about children's paperback. These 80. Okay, so it's going to be 80. So for part 3, it will be 80 over 1250. And let's change that. 80 divided by 1250 gives us 0.064. Okay, final answer. And the last bit. Fiction book or non-fiction hardback. So fiction hardback or non-fiction paperback. Okay, now remember, or, what does or mean? It means when we do in probability, or, that word or will mean, it means to add. Okay, so we'll add the two together. 210 plus 200. So let's do it here. And it's going to be over the total amount. So we get 410 on top. Let's change that to decimal. 410 divided by 1250. 0.328. Okay. Now the last part of this question, part C. Part C there. How many of the first 300 books taken out on loan the following day would you expect to be non-fiction paperbacks? Non-fiction paperbacks. So non-fiction paperbacks. Well, you'd expect, I suppose, well, I've already kind of highlighted there the 200 non-fiction paperback. Okay, so it would be 200 over the 1250. Was it 200? Yeah, over the 1250. That'll tell us the probability of the next day. The question was how many of the first 300? Oh yeah, well, let's find out the probability first. So that's our probability. Let's change it to decimal. So it's 200 divided by 1250, which is, as a decimal, 0.16. So we'd expect 0.16 of the 300 that are being rented the next day. Okay, remember, of means to multiply. So we just multiply it there by 300. We'd expect 48 of the books to be non-fiction paperback. Okay. Now you could have just, by the way, done this quicker by taking this fraction and multiplying it by the 300. You'd have got the same answer. Okay, that would be totally fine too. Guys, sorry that was a bit more long-winded. I hope you were able to follow that. I'm a bit tired, if I'm being honest. End of a very long week. If that's still not making sense or part of it, just let me know. Email me or get me on Teams or whatever. Okay, I'd be happy to help more. Thank you and have a nice weekend.